everybody. Welcome to this week's Tuesday Talk. I'm going to do a follow-up couple of questions from my video last week where I talked about my personal journey in, what happened over the last 10 years, how I lost over 100 pounds. I'll link that below in case you want to watch that before this one. But this one should be standalone anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But thank you so much for the positive response to that video. I had, lots of support and love from everybody. I appreciate that so much. It was not an easy video to do. And lots of questions were generated, and one of the common themes that I wanted to address was how to stay motivated during a long journey like that. And then also what happens if you do have like a bad day, and in some cases, weeks or months, because that did actually happen to me during that 10-year journey. So let's address the how to stay motivated, because that's a big one. When you have, say, 150 pounds to lose, or 100, or even 50, day one is the hardest. Taking that first step is a difficult, that is the first battle, is taking that first step. I've had people say to me, but I just, discovered this, restaurant around the corner that does this, or, I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks, I'm going on a cruise, or my, spouse or kids or whatever, there's so many reasons that it feels like it would be too hard. It really feels like it would be hard to give up those favorite things. So that is why I think that the very first step is very difficult. And if you've taken that very first step at this point and you're watching this, congratulations, because you got over a major hurdle. Your brain is now walking this journey. And for some people, it's like they just can't even imagine what their life might be like without those items that they feel so attached to. And so, I would just encourage you to have bacon and eggs at your next meal and go from there. It's as simple as that. And I know that, that might not feel true for you at the moment, but just do it and see what happens. So that's day one. A couple of weeks later, or within the next couple of weeks, you're probably going to be feeling pretty crappy. And I don't care if it's if you're just doing low carb, keto, carnivore, it doesn't matter. All of those, you're going to feel kind of crappy. And because you're detoxing, you've got this little voice in the back of your head that's still talking, and you might have several of them talking all at once. They're trying to convince you that it's not so bad, because you should be able to have, this. It's not fair. It's going to try every trick in the book to convince you to just have it this one time. Or we'll just go to that event, we'll do whatever we need to do, and we'll get right back on the next day, and no one will know. And oh my goodness, it is going to fill your brain full of half-truths, complete lies. So that, the next few weeks to 30 days can be difficult like that, because whatever that thing is in the back, I've heard it called lizard brain, or the committee. I've heard it called the committee in the back of your head. it's hard to get it all to shut up. And once you do, you wouldn't believe how quiet and calming that can be. But those first few weeks are, going to be consumed with trying to make that stop. Then it becomes a little easier. And this is where it becomes a little easier for a while, because you're probably seeing some benefits, you're losing some weight, maybe, or not. It really depends on what your goals are. But if you've been without sugar for a few weeks, without those addictive substances, the refined and processed carbs, whatever it is that you gave up, once you've been without that for a few weeks, there is sort of a calm. There's, a calming sensation, and, you're feeling pretty good. And yep, you've got this, you can keep going. But there's some moments where you realize, especially if you were someone like me who had a lot of weight to lose. I mean, I'm still working on that. I still want to lose, 40 or 50 pounds. But on the first month of my journey, I had a lot of weight to lose. I had over 150 pounds to lose. And if you've only lost a few pounds and you're at that point, what keeps you going? And that answer is going to be different from everybody, because it can seem like you're standing in front of a staircase of 5,000 stairs up, and you're still not that healthy. You're still, struggling with some of the addictions and some of the mindset and behaviors. There's a couple of things that help, and I would encourage you to think about try to do 5 things a day to keep you in that mindset of what you're doing, and that can be reading books. Like I've got tons of these books. Read books about other people who know about keto and are doing, keto or carnivore or whatever. Listen to some YouTube videos or podcasts. Join Facebook groups where other people are walking the same journey that you're walking. So there's something about the number 5. If you are able to do 5 things every day to immerse yourself into the lifestyle and the mindset of other people who are walking the same journey as you, that can be so helpful. The last thing you want to do is feel like you're the only one doing this. You're alone, and nobody else has to eat this way. And why does it have to be? You start to fall down that rabbit hole of unfairness and all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing that is helpful. And the other thing is getting really tuned into your why. Why do you want to do this? Now, I have been saying for quite some time that it's not enough just to list a bunch of weight loss goals and health goals. I want to get off my meds. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 100 pounds. My doctor has told me that if I don't do this, they're going to make me take this. Those are all 100% valid reasons. We all want to be healthier. Many of us want to be a better weight, look better in our clothes. Those are all great reasons. But will they keep you going when you're by yourself and you've got food in the fridge that other people may have put in there? Maybe you live with people who eat carbs and all that kind of stuff. Is it enough? Will you remember those things when you go into the fridge and you go, oh, I wonder what's in here? There's a good chance that it goes back there somewhere to be forgotten until the next day when you wake up with a sugar hangover. And I saw... So I guess what I'm trying to say is you need to dial into a stronger why. And that really came home to me when I started having to take care of my mother. And she was living here with her dementia, Alzheimer's, over 100 pounds overweight, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. She had edema in her legs. I mean, she was in her 80s and had a multitude of health issues. And that's hard enough when you're young. I mean, I had a multitude of health issues when I was young and able to withstand it. But when you're in your 80s, it's almost impossible to overcome that. And if you're in a weakened physical state. And so, watching her and having to help her, I mean, she had trouble getting off and on the toilet. She had trouble getting in and out of bed, trouble getting off and on the couch. When she started falling, it would take a call to 911. We had a fire station a couple of blocks away, and it would take 2 to 3 firemen to get her up off the floor. And the humiliation and loss of dignity, it did something to me. It just, like, every time I think about it, I feel it. I feel it here. And I have actually talked about it in my Tuesday talks in the past, and every time I talk about it, it makes me cry. So I don't really want to talk about it too much today. But if your why doesn't make you cry or have some kind of emotion attached to it, it's hard to sustain yourself in those moments of weakness when all the other things are conspiring against you. Or say you've done something, you've tried something for 2 or 3 months, which has, I've done, and you've had no results from it, or seemingly no results from it, because we never know what's going on underneath. Your why has to be strong enough to carry you through, to not throw in the towel. And I'm going to put a link below to a video I saw just a couple of days ago from, it was Dr. Boz, where she actually walks you through developing your why. She writes it down in a notebook, all the reasons that, that we want to embark on a journey like this. And then she goes through the steps to get to one that actually touches you here. And I absolutely loved that video and thought it was very powerful. It's not very long. It's short. It's a short exercise. So I'm going to link it below. And I encourage you, if your why is because I need to lose 20 pounds, I encourage you to watch that video. There is nothing wrong with wanting to lose 20 pounds. Absolutely nothing. But I encourage you to just dig a little deeper. So I'm going to put that video below so that you can understand. She explains it way better than I do. So that deals with staying the course of a long journey. And some of us, the journeys are longer than others. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. What happens if you do go off course? When my dad died in 2017, I was halfway through this journey. I was probably about 50 or 60 pounds heavier than I am now. So I had lost about half the weight I wanted to lose about that time. However, I went through some tough times emotionally during that time. I wasn't really tuned into a why. I wasn't practicing any daily habits that put me on a road to better health. All I was doing was kind of loosely staying low carb, not counting macros. And I'm not saying that everybody has to count macros. Many people don't and have great success. But basically I wasn't doing anything mindful for my journey other than watching my carbs and knowing I needed to lose weight. That was the extent of my defenses, and it wasn't enough defense, because I ended up putting some weight back on, probably about 40 pounds. I'm guessing. I wasn't keeping records back then. So that was a hard time, to, lose my dad and deal with my mom and her dementia without my dad there, and to, be putting weight back on. And it was a very difficult time. And so getting back, it took me some time to get back. Now, since that, so that was probably the worst setback I've had in this entire journey. But there's been small ones too, like where it's just, being out for dinner with friends and eating something that you shouldn't have, or, just there's a multitude of things that can go wrong or that can happen, vacation times and things like that. So when I get into those situations, and I have been there, I always just want to be honest, because I'm human, and I don't have one of those Instagram profiles where you see me eating perfectly every day and leading a perfect life, because that isn't my life. And I left Instagram mostly because that's not me, and love being on YouTube, and pretty much what you see on YouTube is my imperfect cooking self, and that's what you see in the Tuesday Talks too. I'm not gonna tell you that I've been, I follow things perfectly, and I have plenty of people who point out how imperfect my version of carnivore is, and so here, this is me, and people are free to go and do what they want. But what I'm telling you is that if you fall off, try to get back on as soon as you possibly can. And I know that is easier said than done, because like I said, it took me a few months to get back to normal. But the things that I think about, what I sit down and do, like what I've learned to do, what I've taught myself to do, is it's not just about the food, it's to get back into those habits. Okay, I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos today, or I'm gonna read a new book. Those sort of habits that build your resolve. The other powerful thing that I do is I think about, okay, what's the alternative? And this is a favorite of mine, and I go back to it a lot, and it's like, okay, so let's pretend that today I'm done with keto, or I'm done with carnivore. I'm going to go back to what? What am I going to go back to? If you did watch last week's Tuesday Talk, I gave quite a long list of the things I have tried over the years that did not work for me. Am I going to go back to those? They didn't work the first time. Why will they work now? Those are short-term solutions at best. They might work for a day or a week or whatever. This is the only thing that has sustained me for months at a time, years at a time. And so the alternative is to go back to standard American diet in between all the other diets, and get back to over 300 pounds and start, going on meds. I'm 65 years old. I'm not on a single medication. Do I want to be taking meds for diabetes, high blood pressure, blood thinners, whatever else they put to people my age to be taking? I know a lot of people my age who are, they have a box of pills that they take with them wherever they go. And I just, that's the alternative that I face, because I was on that road. So, and I think I would probably get there pretty quick too if I threw in the towel. So, just think about that if you're thinking about throwing in the towel. There's so many different ways to do keto and even carnivore, despite what you might hear out there. There's actually not just one way. There's many ways, and there's many nuances that all will, your age, your activity level, your history, your medical history, your dieting, all these things will factor into what will work for you. And you 100% have the right to follow it the way that works for you, to make it sustainable. And you can do that without any shame or embarrassment. You just make this work for you. And instead of thinking about the rules, think about, what can I do today on this road to health? I actually had someone comment on it was just reminded me when I talked about rules on one of my videos. They said, who told you that you were allowed to cook those things? They should be eaten raw or whatever. It was something like that. And I was like, okay, so no, nobody tells me how I work my way of eating here. If I want to cook something, I'm going to cook it. If I want to eat it raw, I'm going to eat it raw. I just feel like we've been through enough shame all our lives by the fact that we have some pounds to lose, some of us more than others. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed of what plan you are following. And honestly, I don't care if people come here and watch me and they're not doing keto or carnivore. I really don't care. If you feel good with what you're doing, it's working for you, and you are healthy, and your doctor's not, trying to get you on meds because your numbers are all, wonky. Well, sometimes they do that anyway, so that's probably a bad example. But you know what I mean? Like if you feel like you are healthy and happy and things are going well for you, just keep doing what you're doing, and don't worry about the rules. Worry about what you are doing for your health, and that is all that matters. So I think I covered, and then some probably, what I wanted to say today. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys soon in another video. Thanks for watching.